Sunday, June 10th, 2018. There's a lot to unpack here. I just finished watching the Microsoft press conference. These are the notes. These are the notes that I took. There is a ton of stuff to unpack here. We're going to get right into it. This is going to be a reaction and a grading. First, they did the Halo Infinite trailer. I'm not a Halo fan, but I know there's a ton of people that play Microsoft games love Halo. So they jumped right in with that. Phil Spencer came out, got a good pop. I think people like Phil Spencer. He immediately announces that there's 50 games that they're going to talk about in this, 18 exclusives and 15 world premieres. The fans were a little bit more lively in this than they were in the EA press conference. So the first game after Halo Infinite, they showed Ori and the Blind Forest 2, Will of the Wisp. I didn't play the first Ori. It looks like a lot more of the same. If you love the first one, you probably love the second one. Then they got into the third one they looked at was From Software and Activision. It was a game called Sekiro. It looks like Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. You're going to find there's a lot of games that use shadows for this. That was one of the overarching themes. Shadows seem to be in a lot of titles. It's supposed to... Will of the Wisp is supposed to come out in 2019. Shadows also is supposed to come out in 2019. But basically what Sekiro looks like... it looks like Dark Souls based in Japan. Old Japan. So if they only showed really a gameplay trailer of it, or just a trailer. Then Todd Howard came out from Bethesda and said Fallout 4 was going to be on Game Pass. Fallout 76 got a good pop when they showed that. And it takes place earlier than any other Fallout. You come out of the vault. The one thing I noticed, the world looks amazing. Because, of course, it's only been like 20, 30 years after the war. So the world hasn't degenerated as much. There's still a lot of houses. There's still things that are still powered up and still moving around pretty well. So a lot of the buildings haven't completely deteriorated and fallen to ruins. It really looked cool. The Fallout universe in more of a contemporary look to it. Maybe some of the vehicles will even still work in these things. I don't know yet. They didn't show that. And they didn't really say much what the game was going to be like. They didn't say if it was going to be an online game. I think, of course, they're saving all of that information for their press conference, which comes up a little later. But it looked awesome. Looked amazing. It looked like we'll get to play in a more fixed, more repaired universe. I won't go too much into it because I'll probably talk about it a lot more. It's 4 times the size, though, of Fallout 4, and it does take place in West Virginia, so I was wrong in one of my other videos. Square Enix then announces a game called, what was this called? Awesome Adventures of Captain Spirit. It takes place in the Life is Strange universe. Heavy on the narrative. Everybody's a child. This is not a game I'm probably going to play, but I know there's a lot of people that probably will. If you like Life is Strange, this game will probably touch a nerve for you. Looks beautiful. Looks like it could be a great little story. But it shows the imagination of when we were kids. But the imagination kind of plays out, where you imagine it and it's there for you to play the game that way. So you see him kind of playing around with a snowman. The snowman looks menacing, kind of comes to life. He puts a firecracker in his face and then pretends like he's casting a spell and blows up, and the firecracker blows up. It's cool. It's a cool looking little thing. But once again, probably not my kind of game, but it did look cool. It looked like it, it should... if you love Life is Strange, you'll probably love that game. Then they showed Crackdown 3. Crackdown 3 is a thing. It is coming out February 2019. They are pushing it away from Red Dead Redemption 2, which I get, but they're also pushing it into a lot of other games that are coming out in February of 2019, and a big heavy hitter coming out in late January of 2019. I'll get into that a little bit later. It looked like it was a gameplay trailer. And Terry Crews is just perfect for this. I love the guy's energy. and his attitude and his voice, the whole thing works well. It looks like we've seen it, but it looks like more gameplay footage, and it looked pretty cool. Didn't look as good as the earlier, cinematic stuff, but it still looked pretty good. Then they announced Nier Automata, all the DLC, June 26, 2018. So if you don't have a PS4 and couldn't play it there, you can now get it on the Xbox One with all the DLC on June 26th. Then they announced Metro Exodus. That was the next game they talked about. The weapons have such great detail. That's the one thing I noticed from the trailer that they showed. The weapons look like they had amazing detail and amazing action within the little weapon. Just seeing the weapon action, it looked really cool. Now I know there are probably other ones that do the same, but it never stands out to me. With Metro Exodus, it really stood out. It looks beautiful. I don't think it's exclusive to them, but they were going so fast through some of these. The next big one, if you're a Microsoft fan and you've had an Xbox, you've had an Xbox 360, you've had an Xbox One, you've probably never gotten to play one of these games, and it's Kingdom Hearts. Kingdom Hearts 3 is going to come to the Xbox One. I looked at the trailer for Kingdom Hearts 3, and it looks like a game even I might want to play. So I might get into that because it does look pretty cool. And it's supposed to come out January 29th of 2019. Now this is where I'm starting to mention January 29th of 2019, Kingdom Hearts 3. February of 2019, you are going to get, I think, what was it? February of 2019, you're supposed to get Crackdown 3. Then there's another game that's coming out, Anthem, February 22nd of 2019. And Metro is coming out February 22nd. Metro Exodus is coming out February 22nd. So within a 1 month time span, you're going to have Metro Exodus, first person shooter, so maybe not the same audience, but you are going to have Anthem, you're going to have Crackdown 3, which could get a lot of the same audience. And how are you going to, and then Kingdom Hearts, which of course is its own audience in itself, but that's a lot of heavy hitting games. Metro maybe not as much, but Crackdown's had a lot of anticipation from Microsoft fans. We know Anthem's had a lot of anticipation. So these games are all going to run into each other in a very short amount of time. I'm thinking maybe somebody is going to push off until March. Maybe late March, early April, to kind of let the dust settle, see who's doing what. And then, Crackdown 3's been delayed 100 times, so why not push Crackdown 3 until April to let the dust settle on some of those other games and then jump in with your game. The next game that they did, they showed Sea of Thieves. Game that a lot of people said came out incomplete. Not a lot to do. They're going to add a couple of more worlds and some new content. Looks like they're adding the Forsaken Shores and Cursed Sails. So they're adding some more stuff. Frankly, the game should have had that stuff to start with, because by what a lot of people have said, Sea of Thieves has been very bare bones minimum for what you paid. But it is part of Game Pass, so if you're paying the $10 a month, you're getting to play the game anyway. Then they showed a little bit of Battlefield 5, no big deal. We saw that yesterday in EA's press conference. This is the game next right here, though, that I am really on edge about. I am a huge Forza fan. Massive Forza fan. I have been looking forward to Forza Horizon 4 until I heard the words shared world. If I can't play the game single player, I won't play the game. I don't want a bunch of people crashing into me while I'm just trying to play. I don't want to race against real people. I'm not that talented of a driver in those games. So I don't want to lose a lot of races finishing last place. If I can't play against AI opponents in my own little world where I want to play my Horizon game, I will not be purchasing it. I'm sorry, but it's like I love the Forza series, and I will be looking elsewhere to get my racing fix from now on if this is how that's going to work. So I don't know a lot about it yet. There still may be a single player where you can play in your own world, which would still make the game amazing to me, but until I know more about it, I can't really say. But it looks beautiful, and it takes place in the UK. So I was wrong about Dubai. I was wrong about Japan. It takes place in the UK, and the UK looks great. It has weather systems. It's pretty. It looks beautiful. If you like to play with other people, the game is going to be amazing for you. But it looks great. Everything looks great. They start off with the McLaren Senna. I'll talk more about this game a lot more later. But right now, I'm a little apprehensive because if it's an online all the time game where I have to play with other people, I probably won't buy it. And it comes out October 2nd of 2018. Then Phil Spencer came back out and he announced 5 new studios that are going to work exclusively with Microsoft that they basically kind of snatched up. Now, I'll say this about Phil Spencer. I like Phil Spencer. I think he's done an amazing job trying to fix the reputation that Microsoft games or that Microsoft and the Xbox One have had problems with because of the whole campaign to never have, to go totally digital. So it's pretty cool that he's tried very hard. They've got the Initiative that's coming in, Undead Labs, which I think did State of Decay, Playground Games, which is Horizon, the Horizon series, and Fable, maybe. I still say Fable is going to be one of those things that Playground Games does. Ninja Theory, which did that really dark, kind of brooding game. It only took like 8 hours to beat, but it's like, I can't remember the name of the game, but it was like, it had to do with mental illness and whatnot and how people have to deal with it, and it was a very dark, immersive game. Got a lot of great reviews, but now Ninja Theory does their work for Microsoft. And then Compulsion Games they also added, and that's the one that does We Happy Few. We Happy Few will come out on August 10th, 2018. Once again, not a game I'm really looking forward to, not my kind of game, but it looks amazing, looks good. Looks like it might have a pretty creepy story, so it might be pretty freaking cool. Then they did some more PUBG stuff, talked about a new war mode a little, or they showed trailer of a new war mode. They didn't talk about it, and new areas, winter of 2018. Then Tales of Vesperia. First time in the West, I guess this game has been brought. It's a JRPG, winter of 2018. Looks good. I mean, it probably looks a lot like Xenoblade Saga or something like that, but it looks really, really good. So Tales of Vesperia might be a game I invest some time in because I love RPGs. I especially love JRPGs. Then they went into The Division 2, which is March 15th of 2019. Takes place, I think, in the Washington, D.C. area. They talk about a virus and, basically the world has kind of went into chaos. They showed a lot of gameplay from that, and that looked pretty cool. Once again, online game mostly, probably not my thing, but I know a lot of people will like it because it looks like Ubisoft made some improvements. Then they talked a little bit more about Game Pass, about something called Fast Start that'll happen in the June update, and you can get the Halo Master Chief Collection in June as well as part of Game Pass. Then they went into Tomb Raider, which is September. Now my handwriting is terrible. It's either September 14th or September 19th of 2018. And it's called Shadows of the Tomb Raider. Once again, more shadows. In fact, I think Kingdom Hearts had a Shadows thing. I can't remember. Maybe. I don't know. But, once again, it's a Tomb Raider game. It looks like the other 2 Tomb Raider games. If you love those, you're going to love this. Then they announced an exclusive from Creature Studios called Session, skateboarding game. Basically, probably what Tony Hawk 5 should have been. It looked good. I don't know if what they showed was gameplay footage, but it looked good. So if you like skateboarding games and you were disappointed in Tony Hawk 5, this may be your chance to get something that reminds you of Tony Hawk 5, but in a more modern console. Then they announced another exclusive from Pearl Abyss, Black Desert, which is an MMO. I've looked at this MMO before. It looks really cool. I used to play a ton of MMOs, so maybe I'll get into this one, but it is exclusive to the Xbox. Then they announced from Capcom, world premiere, Devil May Cry 5. Devil May Cry 5 looked great. They had a couple of the content creators come out. It seemed to get a pretty good pop. Devil May Cry 5 looks like it might really harken back to the original Devil May Cry series. Devil May Cry 4 was kind of a joke. People didn't really like it, but Devil May Cry 5 looks like it takes the heart and soul and comes back to the original. Then you had Cuphead. They announced the delicious last course, more worlds, more bosses, more levels, and another playable character. So you're Miss Chalice, I think her name is. So you'll get Cuphead, Mugman, and Miss Chalice. So you get a third character. I don't know if that means all three of you can be on the screen at the same time. It might be kind of crowded, but once again, it just looks good. So then the next one they announced was from somebody called Finji Games, and it was called Tunic. It actually looked really cool. I think it was the one with the little fox, and he's just in kind of a little isometric world, and he's kind of running around, and it kind of looks like those Hitman Go or Tomb Raider Go kind of games, but it's more more mobile. You can kind of run around it. Looks like maybe it looked really neat. I might even play that one. It looks like a pretty cool little game. Then Bandai Namco, there's something called Jump Force. There was the Yuffie from, I think Yuffie is his name, from One Piece. They had what's his face from Dragon Ball Z, Goku, I think his name is. They had Naruto, and they had one other guy in there. I can't remember who it was. But all of these characters are in the same game together. Now I don't know what Jump Force actually is, because I didn't really say. I don't know if it's a fighting game or if it's some kind of an open world game, but it says, all work together or something like that. So I wish I could remember who the other one was. I know it was like Goku and the guy from One Piece and Naruto and somebody, and I think there was somebody else, and I wish I could remember. But it looks really cool. So if you want that kind of a game, I wish I knew more about Jump Force, but Bandai Namco is just kind of letting people peek at it, and they may announce more on it later. But it looks cool. Then the next was Dying Light 2. They brought out the guy from Dying Light 2. They showed some gameplay on that. They showed it's a world that everybody's game will play differently, because every decision you make is hard-hitting. They showed some mission where if you go for the Peacemakers and you take over this water tower by killing the two people that are controlling it, then everybody has water, but it's the Peacemakers who are controlling it, and they kind of rule with an iron fist. So if you're against them, it can be very tough on you. But if you, let's say you just cooperate with those people, with the people that are controlling the water, the two people controlling the water, then it brings in a lot of unsavory characters because you sell the water on the black market. So Dying Light looks like nobody's going to play the game exactly the same. So it looks like it'll be pretty cool. Then they announced an exclusive, Battletoads. A brand new Battletoads game coming out in 2019. So if you love the original, they didn't show really much of it. They kind of showed a little goofy bloop of it, and that was about it. But it still looked, it's Battletoads. If you love Battletoads, you'll want it. Then they announced Just Cause 4. Well, it looks exactly like Just Cause 3, so there you go. From Avalanche and Square Enix. Square Enix really let a lot of these games get announced on Microsoft's... it's kind of weird that they let Microsoft kind of announce these. Then there was Gears of War, which got a good pop. But the first thing they showed was these little Funko characters of Gears of War playing around. And it was a cute little trailer. It was a cute little blurb. It was fun. If you can, look it up. It's a cute little thing. And it's just these little Funko Gears of War characters. And it's a mobile game. Gears of War Pop is it's called Gears Pop. It's a mobile game. Looks cute. And then there was a turn-based strategy game called Gears Tactics. Also, I think a mobile game, or play it on PC or something like that. And I'm sitting there going, okay, so you got everybody all excited about this Gears of War stuff, and they're expecting... And then they announced it, Gears of War 5. They showed a lot of that. The story looks pretty cool, but it looks like it focuses on it looks like it focuses on the female character. I can't remember her name, but it looks like it focuses a lot on her. Um, but it looked great. It looked, it looked like Gears of War. It looked like it played like Gears of War. So that's pretty cool there. And then they ended with Cyberpunk 2077. What can you really say about that? They ended with Cyberpunk 2077. The whole arena went dark, and it looked like somebody was hacking into everything. And of course, it's a setup. Nobody's hacking into nothing. But then, of course, they showed they showed a guy, and they of course he said the words immediately. Said the year in 2077, and it's like you knew. And they showed some gameplay footage, and I still don't know what to think of that game. But is it like The Witcher 3 just in 2077? I don't know, but it looks amazing. It really does. And that was how they ended the show. Was with Cyberpunk 2077. That's pretty good. Now, I didn't see any release date, release window, nothing. It's just kind of, hey, it still exists. We know, but tell us when we're gonna get it. So CD Projekt Red is basically telling us the game's alive and well, guys. It's there. It's ready to go. So how would I grade this? Well, there was a point where even sitting in my chair, and I'm trying to figure out where it was, where it's like I think even I cheered because I thought, what an awesome thing. And I can't remember where it was, but it was a very good. Microsoft came through on this one. They announced a lot of exclusives, a lot of world premieres. They announced a lot of games, and they needed to, and they did. So Microsoft did an incredible job. They really did an incredible job. And I will definitely say this. How would I grade this? It's an A. They get an A because they did exactly what they had to do. They announced a bunch of games that were exclusives for their system. I mean, there was a ton of them. They went through like 15 or 20 games like real quick in a trailer form that I couldn't really catch. I just couldn't write them down fast enough. But they really delivered, and it was a fun. I watched the whole thing. It was like 2 hours long. I watched the whole thing, and it was really a good show. I mean, they put on a really good show, and there was a lot of good stuff they announced. So they definitely get an A from me. They did a great job. They announced what they were going to announce, and I'm not even marking them down for the fact that Forza Horizon 4 might not even be single player. So, I don't know. What did you guys think of the press conference? Did you watch it, or are you just going off of reactions? There's so much to unpack. It's like if I would have gone into each individual thing for any length of time, this video would take an hour and a half. So, what do you think? Do you think Microsoft has a chance to really kind of pull themselves and sell some more consoles just based on some of those exclusives? I don't know. I think they can. I think some of the exclusives are strong. I think now they have a Kingdom Hearts game. It's not exclusive, but they now have a Kingdom Hearts game. The Gears of War looks solid. The Halo looks solid. Crackdown 3 is still a thing. So they've announced some new teams and everything. So, yeah, I think they did a great job. It was a fun press conference to watch. There was so much to see and so much to think about. But what do you think? I'm going to end the video because it's just taking way too long, and I still got a Bethesda one to do later. So, with all that being said, to the troops, past, present, and future, thanks for the freedom.